In this week's pod, I'll meet Pride of Britain winner, Sand United patron Robert Allen, and 9 for Nora and Lads and Dads charity founder Ross Coniam. We discuss all things men's mental health, fears, depression, baby loss, and overcoming severe anxiety and adversity. We also talk a bit about football as well, which is quite interesting. This is the most honest and hard-hitting podcast to date, and one that you simply do not want to miss out on. I learnt a lot from my time with these two, and they're truly an absolute inspiration to thousands and thousands of people in their network. If you struggle with your mental health or struggle to deal with things that life and business throw at you, then you simply must tune in to this episode. Well, cheers boys for coming on the pod.
Thanks very much.
Welcome. I'm going to get started by asking the first question. So what we're going to do is, we've got a load of questions here, random stuff, some of the stuff related to the topic we're talking about, some of the stuff's going to be life stuff. I think some of the listeners will be interested in you guys' opinions, and a bit of a chat and a discussion about it. So I'm going to go with the first one. Okay, so first question is, who will win the Prem this season? So, who will win the Prem this season?
As a United fan, I'm going to opt out of answering this question completely.
You're not included anymore?
They've never been included. I'm a Watford fan, I can say whatever I like. We won't be in the division next season, so it's fine.
Oh, you never know.
No, we've got no chance. We've got no chance. Ranieri will be sacked by Christmas.
Do you think?
I've said it already. Yeah.
You might win the next Leicester.
No chance.
Need money for that.
No chance.
2022.
We haven't got players, and we just, I don't know, Watford is for. So anyway, talk about the top of the league. We only talk about
Top of the league. So
I can't see.
Go on, lads.
what do you reckon?
You're a Liverpool fan.
I'm a Liverpool
Go on,
fan.
let's go.
I'm confident.
Let's hear it.
I'm confident Liverpool can do a good job, but Chelsea are looking good. Chelsea are looking good.
Consistent, I think.
They're worrying.
You're out of it.
I didn't
Arsenal,
realise.
but,
I went to watch United Liverpool at Old Trafford,
Oh,
and it's just when you watch it on telly, you don't quite grasp the quality.
Yeah.
But when you see it in real life,
You were quite close, weren't you, as well?
Yeah. Look, I was treated when I got tickets off Lingard, which was a good spot. But just watching Liverpool compared to Man United, who were supposed to be a top team.
Yeah.
You know, they've been notorious over the years being a top team.
Yeah.
They're so far behind. Like the way Liverpool move, the players all know what's happening before it happens.
Yeah.
Like the goal
It's like
for class,
intuitive, isn't it?
Yeah, it's so different. And United look like LadsAndDads team, trying to defend against the the power of Liverpool. It just it was, I don't know, it was unfair. It was like someone who's throwing a towel.
I watched it. It's a bit like it's a team. It's a team, isn't it? Liverpool are a team.
Yeah.
Man U aren't a team.
No.
Man U are individuals.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's not good enough individuals.
But a team, like a proper team, will take you places. Like West Ham haven't got superstars, but this season they're unbelievable.
Well, we said it. Leicester.
Leicester. You know, it doesn't happen very often, consistently. You know, some teams have really good stars and then they peel off. But you know, I think Liverpool will definitely be up there. City can never count them out. Chelsea
City are just, it's strange, isn't it? Because you just, they're synonymous of being up there all the time and consistent every week, and they've had a rocky start. I don't know what, they lost 3 already.
Yeah, I think they get away with it because of the last few seasons. People just, they don't pay too much attention to the week by week because they know by the end of the season they're going to be out. Yeah. Whereas I just don't think anyone outside them 3 is going to rock a decent challenge. Yeah.
I said Liverpool at the start of the season, just I thought it'd be their year again, and they've got that. But they have to keep everyone fit, Liverpool.
Well, I think we're going into this weekend with like 3 or 4 fresh
We've got
injuries.
the African Nations coming up as well, haven't we? So. Like Watford have got 5 players going to that. I don't know how. Don't know how and what teams they play for, but we have. So
where are Watford in the league now? Is that a bad question to ask?
No, we're not. We're not in the relegation zone, but I expect us to be in there by the end of the season.
Yeah.
I mean,
where are you now?
16, 17.
Really?
But I lost.
You're not banking on a good January though.
Yeah, we've got to get to January. Like our next 3 games are Man City, Man U, Leicester, and we've just played, and then Chelsea, and we've just played Arsenal, Liverpool.
Yeah.
And it's like, we just can't compete with those teams.
I think
Manchester City could get, it could be like San Marino. Oh, no.
Mate, do you know what? That game, San Marino game, was just...
It's ridiculous.
It's just boring, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It's point, I didn't watch it, it was just pointless.
10-0, it just seemed quite... I mean, look, don't get me wrong, you still got to put it in the net, haven't you? But it's...
It's not a competition. What are they learning from that to take it to the World Cup? You're not benefiting from that at all.
No.
Like, having a team like that play against you, it's pointless. It's like when they play the friendlies against all these other no-name teams, and it's like, And then you've got the interview after, and it was like someone was interviewing Harry Kane about him coming close to or just going past Lineker's record, and you're like, come on, like
you should be playing that game.
I mean, no, Grant, you know, but you.
It'd be interesting to see how many of his, not singling him out, but how many of his goals, how many of his 48 or 49 were against that type of opposition versus other people that are up there, like Lineker and different
it's
people.
Like someone, so I read something the other day, I think it was on Facebook, about Messi overtaking Pele on international goals or total goals in their career scored or something like that. And then someone else had commented that it's not the same game. Like you look at the absolute carpet Messi gets to play on, and then you look back at the games that Pele used to play in, it was like playing in Calfin.
Mate, they're like 10 times worse than out there.
With steel toe cap boots and a pig football. It's not the same game. Like you can't compare players like that, because if Pele played now, they'd probably score 4 times the amount of goals he ever scored. Yeah. Because of the conditions that we've got. So it's uncomparable like that, and I just don't see how I don't see how they can keep it competitively that, you know, Harry Kane's past Lineker or, you know, because it's not the same.
It's just numbers at the end of the day, isn't it?
You can't compare. It's the same like going out of the ball, but same as boxers. You can't compare Fury and Tyson.
It's just different areas.
Because they're different areas. You can say you think you win, but you can clear away. But yeah, you have every sport you can't compare. You can't compare 50 years ago to now. It's impossible.
The rules of the game have changed so much now. Like I used to watch like old clips of George Best. Yeah. People were trying to tackle him at the knee. Yeah. And it weren't even a foul. Yeah. Let alone a booking. Yeah.
Gazza was the same. Just like incredible talent.
Like, you can't even sneeze on people now without, you know. So it is a completely different game. It's not comparable. But
I think that's the one thing that I'd change is I think that the physicality is different. I quite like to see that.
I used to love.
Do you know what I mean? I quite like to see
Arsenal.
Keane in the middle, like with Vieira, like having it. It's part of the game. It's like watching the F1 at the weekend. I won't say when I watch the F1, it's 9 times out of 10 it's boring. But that I don't know if you've seen it. That race at the weekend. Hamilton and Verstappen, like there was personal stuff, like people touching each other's cars, getting fined 50 grand, getting deducted places. Hamilton back to the back of the grid. Messages going across the radio, like sub messages about the other team, and it was just like added like a degree of just like really competitive. Just
the reason I don't watch F1 is because there's not enough driving ability in F1. Like there's not that many places to overtake. There's not that much competition on the grid. Yeah. It's normally a bit like football.
I'd watch it if you shoved everybody in a Fiesta. Yeah, and have them go around.
Yeah, I had this exact conversation a couple of nights ago, and we thought that they tried that. I think it was like, I don't know what it was, don't quite like Sierras or something. Right. But no one could overtake anyone. Literally couldn't. They just followed each other. Yeah. That was it. Once you're in it, that was it. It was pointless. That's why I stopped. But the talent is. I mean, Lewis Hamilton's obviously one of the best drivers ever been, but he's had the best car ever been. It's a bit like having Klopp would not keep Watford up. I don't think. If you had Watford, he's still going to keep. If he had the same players we've got now, you're going to keep him up. But
you're still shouting on such like, aren't he?
Of course he loves it. He does love him. I'm not a massive Klopp fan.
You're not a Klopp fan?
I do like him.
Only because, for me...
Do you need a hug from Klopp? Is that what it is?
Come on. Or 20-minute cameo to get me on the pitch. But I don't know, it just... I think, because I support a lower division.
Klopp like the Watford, you'd be loving it.
Oh yeah, I'd get it.
You'd be a Klopp fan, you'd be the glasses and the shirt and everything.
But he always complains when he loses. Always like, oh, it's too windy. That's not what he does. He does do, but he is exciting to watch. Like Mourinho and him have always been the best two to listen to and watch on the telly.
I just think this year with the football, it's going to be close. Like I think it will go down to the last few matches. I think whereas other seasons you had like 2 and there's been barely any drop games, like barely any losses, like maybe lose 1 or 2 tops. I think this season there's going to be. Whoever wins it will still lose 3 or 4.
Yeah, I think it'll be close to. Like I
lower points total.
I think there's a lot of what people would class as like the second 6, if you like. Yeah. A lot of those have stepped up. Like Everton are doing really well. West Ham are doing really well.
The Rafa effect, isn't it?
Well, but then I mean, what happens next year? You know, what happens next season when Newcastle go out and absolutely spend a war chest on getting anyone they want?
I just don't think they. I think they're going to struggle to attract.
Do you think? I mean, Newcastle was.
I think first round of signings they'll struggle to attract. I think they'll attract people that are out of favour, people like you, but that are good. People like your Coutinho's and
the older generation, like
But also, they only spend a certain amount of money because you.
They'll be paying out, wouldn't they?
I mean, Man City are the biggest back games. Their defence is worth more than.
Haven't they got like a second team in another league?
Oh,
and the people that own City, I'm sure they own another team.
They own one in America.
Oh, okay.
So then what they do is the other team buy a player, and then they loan him to Man City. And it's exactly. Everyone's keep paying each other off. But
so if we had to put if we need to agree on a top 3.
Well, we know the
in
three
order.
are.
In order.
Oh, okay.
So we're saying what? Liverpool, Chelsea, and
City.
City. So what's the top 3 on that?
Called it.
I'll probably go, if I had to, I'll probably say Chelsea, Liverpool, City. Because City at the minute just aren't quite there where the other two are. And I think if it carries on the way it is now, Chelsea have probably got the edge on Liverpool just. And that'll be tight. That'll be like last 2, 3
It's just whether Chelsea can keep it going.
Yeah, I mean if
in the season.
But again with
they
them,
keep this level.
They haven't got a lot of bench, so they lose a couple of key players, similar to Liverpool.
Yeah.
You know, it's going to be a tale of the injuries. I think if one team loses a couple of decent players for injury, the other one will pip them, but it's going to be I reckon you're
looking at a 6-9 point gap between the top 3. That's it this year.
Yeah.
Whereas previously you've had 20 points or whatever. And
So go on then, your 3.
my top 3.
In order.
Liverpool, Chelsea, City.
Liverpool, Chelsea, City. So I'm trying to go
But
from here, not from
neutral.
here. I just want to say Liverpool. I don't care about anything else. But
If you ask me bottom 3, I can do bottom 3 all day long. That's easy. Top 3, no. I'd say Liverpool. I think Liverpool. They just look too good.
I want to go Liverpool, City, Chelsea because I think Chelsea will peter out. I think they'll get to the last third of the season. I think maybe they might just die off a little bit.
It all depends on Champions League as well, where they are, if they're in it, if they're out, games, players.
Well, you'd imagine all 3 of them will have a decent run.
They'll
all kind of be.
English teams in the last few seasons that have gone on land.
That's why I think Man City will be third. Because I think they're going to go. Guardiola needs to win the Champions League.
As soon as he wins the Champions League, he's gone.
I really don't want them to do it.
I don't think they'll do it. I just don't think they've.
No.
But then you would probably say last couple of years the people that have won it, you wouldn't have picked them from the start.
Well, you look at the teams that you'd usually think are absolute bankers for semi-final. Barca ain't going to get anywhere near. Madrid are not going to get anywhere near.
That's mad though, isn't it?
Bayern Munich are strong but inconsistent this season, and then you're left with English sides.
Yeah, be interesting.
It's a bit like the World Cup. The rest of the leagues are just there for fill-ins, aren't they? It's normally the Spanish, the Italians, or the English in the last. Yeah. And that's it.
Yeah. Well, it used to be Spanish, wasn't it? And then it's.
Although you say that PSG have got to step their game up because they're spending money like it's going out of fashion and still can't get near a Champions League final for some reason.
Money don't buy you everything.
No, it doesn't. No, true.
It's a fair comment.
Yeah.
Right, Rossi, do you want to go next one?
Lucky dip.
Lucky dip. What we got?
Might not be lucky.
No, probably not going to be lucky.
Oh, it's a good one for everyone. What's your biggest fear?
Biggest fear. You got to answer this first.
Oh, I'm going to go right into that. What's my biggest fear? It's tough. Depends what you're looking at. Everything.
No holds barred.
I think fear of mine I've always had ever, and I know it's a bit soppy, but it's the fear of disappointing my family. It's a big one, especially now I've got children. And I think before children you sort of think, you just get on with life, it's easy, you don't worry about them. Yeah. Getting older as well, parents, as you're getting older, they're in their late 70s and you worry about them. And I think it's the fear of the change of when you with family as well. So like me disappointing my family would be not being there enough, and I think when you're younger,
what's that time?
Yeah, and I think when you're younger, you don't appreciate how much when they're not going to be it. So like my dad now is getting older. Yeah, he's still fairly fit and healthy. I've been very fortunate to work for my dad, and with him now, play golf with him. He used to come watch me play football, so I've had a lot of time with my dad and my mum. But you think I didn't spend enough time. So I think that is a fear that I haven't done enough. I know I probably have. It's probably me overthinking it, but I think you want to make sure. I'm sure they're proud of me and what I've done, but I think spending time, the fear of not doing enough for them, I think is a big fear of mine. So I think that's something I'm going to push now. Like I say, now I've got kids and I'm older, I'd like to think that my little ones are going to look after me and want to be around me. And I think, spending time with your family.
How old's your parents?
So my dad is 77, mum's 75. So I'm 40 next year, and mum's 75. So we've got quite. And my brother's 50, funny enough. We've got 3 big birthdays next year. And I think it's only been the last sort of 5 years that I've sort of really. Because I've always my dad's been my mate. We play golf and play snooker, and now he can't do those things as much. He's a bit like, oh, what do I do with my dad? And we've never been a particular massive talking family, so we're not a hugging family. We don't hug when we say goodbye, which is now I find really weird because my in-laws and my wife's family are complete opposite. We're complete chalk and cheese. It's like, the first thing I do to my wife's mum is go and hug her when she comes around and see us. My mum is a bit more like, oh, do I do that? We do sort of now.
Go and hug your dad and be like,
but they've never done it. Yeah, but they've never done it.
Yeah.
Like my mum would never come and hug me and stuff, and I don't remember sitting down doing schoolwork with my parents. Whereas now it's like, I can't wait. I don't really want to have to do schoolwork, so it's going to be a nightmare, isn't it? But I'm looking forward to be able to do that with my children. I don't think that era they used to do it as much. So
you think disappointing families that?
Yeah, I think you want to make sure you do your best for your family. I think looking back, I wish I did more when I'm younger, but now I know I'm doing more, and hopefully, I think the fear of them. Yeah, because we don't speak to each other. I think because it's my family, I know we're not a big family. We've got a fair sized family, but we don't talk to each other that much. So I want that to be something that I grow. So I'm not fearful.
So why do you think that is? Is that just the way it's always been? Do you think that will change, or what do you think?
I want to make. I kiss and hug my son every time I can and stuff. I'm not saying it's my mum and dad's fault. It's just maybe the way they weren't. And like I say, they're in the 70s. It's a completely different era and stuff.
Yeah,
like generation. Completely. Like my dad doesn't cook. My mum doesn't cooking. Like now, if I didn't cook, I wouldn't eat.
I'd love it if I said to my dad, he's approaching 80 as well. If I said to my dad, cook, he wouldn't have a clue.
No.
It'd be toast would be the max. And even that would be, look, I'm struggling. What second?
What can I put on it? Yeah.
No, that's just historically, it's not been his role.
No,
do you know what I mean? It's just not been.
My dad's 84, exactly the same. My mum used to cook his dinner, she used to make his breakfast, she used to do his lunch for work, like she would iron his clothes. He literally went to work, that was his job.
You go to work, wasn't it? Yeah, your mum did all the everything at home, the dad worked, the husband went to work, and that was it. And if I asked Naomi, if I asked Naomi to cook, she would cook.
Yeah.
But I don't, because we do it between us.
Yeah.
There's certain things I do a lot more than she does, and there's definitely a lot more she does than I do.
That's probably one area I really struggle with, to be fair. So I'm not, because of work and stuff like that, I'm not around that much to cook. I normally, Charlotte has to do quite a lot of it, as well as juggle the kids, and it's like, that's one thing I wish I could be around more for, was that aspect of it. But yeah, it's tough. It is.
I think they feel the same.
Yeah.
Some concoctions that you might cook up.
Well, I don't mind cooking. I quite like it. Again, my dad was you catch him in the kitchen now.
Yeah.
Because my mum, the age difference between them, I think it's 18 years between them two. So my dad's in his 80s, my mum's still in her 60s. Yeah. She's still got a decent social network. She's still going to see her friends. She's got a moped that she's out, bombing along on. Yeah, in her 60s, which is mad. Whereas my dad, on the flip side to that, he had to give his licence up a little while back because he's got cataracts in both eyes, and he's got various different health issues that he's developed from stopping work. When he was at work, he was all right. He's fairly fit.
What did he do for a living?
He used to be a lorry driver for Corona back in the day, the old glass bottles, and then towards kind of the end of it, he was a security guard.
Okay.
For Marriott Hotel. So he used to have to do. They had I think the car park was like a 2-mile walk. So we had to go and do like a lap every now and again to check the car park out and all that kind of stuff. Now he can't even make it to the end of the street.
Yeah.
Because of the years of smoking and poor health and all that kind of stuff. And now he's stopped and sat down, he can't do it anymore. So he doesn't really go out of the house, can't really go anywhere, got no car to go and do anything in. So he struggles from that aspect, whereas my mum's out quite a lot. So he has to cook now. If you don't cook, you don't eat. But there's been times where I've popped in on him, and I kid you not, like, I walked in the kitchen, I could smell burning plastic. And I'm not...
Just left something on the stove or something.
What's going on here? And he put something in the grill, the whole pan, with the handle, the whole thing's gone in the oven. Yeah. He shut the oven door and walked off. And I'm like, Dad, are you cooking? He's like, no. I was like, you are?
There's something in there,
And I pulled the tray out, and the handle's melted to the tray, the food's black, and he completely forgot to put it in there. And I'm like, I said to my wife, you need to keep an eye on him, like, cause if you're not about, and I hadn't popped in,
dangerous,
20 minutes later, the kitchen's on fire or whatever, but, it's just, I don't know.
So what would be your biggest fear then?
It used to be, up until kind of 4 years ago, I suppose, one of the things that used to keep me awake at night was the fear of dying.
Really?
Yeah. And the what ifs, the what's next, the how can you go from this to that, and it really used to bug me to the point I can't lay. Like my missus can go to bed, head on the pillow, 2 minutes later she'll sleep.
Yeah.
Then I have no idea how she does it. So she's got a switch next to her ear or something, and I can't do it. If I lay there and start sleeping, I will lay there for hours and hours, and that'll be the reoccurring thought that spins.
So what specifically are you thinking about?
Just like the what after, what
happens after?
Yeah. Is there anything? Is there, and then I remember a conversation me and a friend of mine had years ago, back when we were in our teenage years, and the conversation had come up, and he said, "What do you remember before you were born?" And you're like, "Nothing." There was nothing.
Yeah.
And he was like, "What do you think's going to happen after?" And you're like, and I just it boggles my brain to comprehend that, like now, in the living in the now.
Yeah.
You can pretty much do what you want. You've got a consciousness, you've got thoughts and feelings about all these different things, and then that just switches off. Like, what happens to all that? And it really used to bother me, like I say, up until about 4 years ago, until when we lost Neve, and now I'm not bothered, because whatever happens after, she's already there.
Okay.
She's already waiting there. So whatever it is, if it's something or nothing, we're in it together in that kind of respect.
Yeah,
so that doesn't really bother me too much now.
So do you think that gives you comfort? And
Yeah.
sort of pacifies.
Yeah, because like I've been lucky enough that I haven't lost many members of family.
Yeah.
Regularly. A few when I was a kid, grandparents and stuff, but nothing really in my adult years, if you like, to a degree. So it's always been one of those kind of things that not has been kept from you, but I just haven't had much experience.
Yeah.
Which I think it bothers me more because it's not, it's not stuff anybody likes to think about. But yeah, now it doesn't really, I'm not bothered.
See, my fear is similar to that. It's not necessarily about death, but it's about the potential that tomorrow could be the last day.
Mm-hmm.
And not for me, because if I'm brown bread,
you don't have.
I'm done. There's no like you just said there. Before you were born, you can't think of anything, and after you're not going to feel or think anything either. But just the potential that you could be going through your days working, doing this and doing that, and trying to prioritise to do your best for your family, for yourself, for your inner circle, and just that tomorrow could be. You don't know when that time's coming. You don't know when that time's going to be. It's how your loved ones is gonna, how that whatever potentially happen. This is all potential. It sounds weird talking about it. How that potential event might affect them for the next 50 years or 60, 70 years. Do you know what I mean? That's my kind of, I would say, biggest
Well, I think
fear.
the human nature is you always want more time.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter when that time comes. You will always sit there, lay there, whatever, thinking, I wish I could have done.
I just think it's that and it's regret as well. Like, if I get to that situation, if that situation's, touch wood it's not, but if that situation's next week or next year or in 50 years' time, I'm scared of sitting there, laying there and thinking, I wish I could have done that, or I wish I'd have been better at this, or I regret that.
I think that was the case a lot for me, and it's something that again I've tried to change my mindset of now, is that I was always worried about the thing that you get lost in life.
Yeah.
You're always worried about, have you got enough money? Are you doing working enough? Are you earning enough? Are you got enough money in the bank to do whatever it is that you think you're going to be able to do? And all that kind of stuff, like, again, and kind of going through that experience of losing Eve, and I know, kind of reference back to it quite a lot, but it was a massive turning point to the thing that you're like, is all that shit really important?
Yeah.
Is it really kind of, the day-to-day stuff that you get yourself torn up in and spins your brain about, work and family time and all that, and money in the bank, and none of it's relevant.
Yeah.
Like, realistically, the only thing I want now is that whenever that time comes and whenever I'm not here, I just want people to have good memories of me being here.
Yeah.
Not that I was always working to make sure you had money in the bank, because money in the bank, I can't do anything with it, and it's nice to leave things for your family and stuff, but once the money's spent, it's spent.
Yeah.
You can't buy memories.
Yeah.
Like, I would much rather have no money and loads of memories of taking the kids to the park and play football and swinging from trees and all the kind of silly stuff that sticks with people and I think will help the kids process, or help your friends and family process you not being around, is the memories they've got of you.
Yeah.
If they've got little memories, no memories or bad memories, the fact that you were never around for the kids' birthdays, you was at work and you didn't have time to take them to the park and you couldn't do this, couldn't do that. What are they, they're going to grow up with that memory and you can't do anything to change that.
My memory of my dad, and this isn't a negative, but it's just, well, even though we're talking now, we've come after work, we're sitting here going into the night or whatever, but like, if I think about I used to come home from school, my dad come in, head on the he's a builder, been building since he was a young age, and just, he'd be out on site digging holes, building stuff, he's a carpenter, and just doing whatever he's told to do, and he'd be physically and mentally drained and knackered, and he'd come in covered in shit, covered in mud, covered in blood from whatever he'd had his head on that day or whatever. He did have a few of them. He had a few of them actually. He fell for a ceiling, caught himself like that, and he's just like blood everywhere here and whatever. And I just remember coming in, and just the one thing I really remember from my youth wasn't my dad playing football with me in the garden like he does with my son now, which is what's so nice to see. Yeah. It's like a role reverse, and he comes to watch us up here and whatever. I had the
pleasure of talking to him anyway. Yeah.
Mate, there's people play for different reasons, and part of the reason why I play again, because I haven't played like when I joined since I was 15, is because I wanted him to see me play. Because there was a realisation that shit, he ain't getting any younger, and I know he does enjoy watching Freddie play. Yeah. And he referenced and said, "I wish you and Jamie still played." And I know my brother's not going to play because he does different things and whatever. But that's one of the reasons why I want to play. And just going home and seeing it, coming home from school and seeing him just passed out on the thing. Empty plate of food there, head down, and it wouldn't come up till 8, 9 at night, and then everyone's going to bed, and it's like, that's all I remember. Well, not all I remember, but it's a lot of what I remember from my youth going through school is just, and I think that's where I get my drive to work hard, is just from that example. It's a consistent example every day, no matter what the weather, no matter what was going on, because he must have had stuff going on in his life, family, money, so that my mum and dad not well off, still not well off, there's no, they were normal.
He knew that sitting in that chair weren't earning anything, which weren't.
Yeah, he was up at 6 in the morning and just going out, and he'd be gone before I'm up, just
death. And that's where they're at, and they haven't had a conversation. Then I do it to show that you can actually talk about it, and if that conversation might be the difference, like that bravery of seeing somebody else, whether it's you or me or Arran or someone on telly or whatever, I don't care who you see, but I want you to see people talking about it, to know that it's an option. I don't want, we lose too many good people because they don't think they can even talk about it. Like, why? Why can't you talk about it? I've said lots of times to lots of different people that, they all think that men have to be tough and strong and this and that and the other, and I say to all of them, I think it takes a tougher, stronger person to show you vulnerability than it does to lock it all away from someone. It's easy to hide, like behind a character, behind a persona. You could be cheeky Rob at football and whatever, and that's all people will ever see, and they'll go, "Oh no, Rob's alright, I saw him at training, he's sound, he was cracking jokes, yada yada." People that walk in here and go, "Do you know what, lads, like, can we leave that for a minute? I need to have a chat with someone. I've got some stuff I need to offload." That's the conversation I want to have. I'm not bothered about the
so you don't know whether that conversation is, like we were saying about fear, and my fear of when does it end. You don't know, and it might sound extra, but you don't know whether that conversation is going to make that difference at that level, or maybe part of the way through that process, or whether it turns somebody's head to make them feel better, so they go home and they're a better partner or a better family member or a better father or whatever.
We've had players over the last 3 years just in this team, so again I would imagine it's the same for the others, but I've had lads say to me that this team's been the difference between them being here and not being here.
So just to jump in on that, just give a bit of context for people that don't know, so do you want to just tell us about Sands and about what you started?
So Sands United. So Sands as a charity was started 40 years ago. It's for families and friends who have been affected by child loss, either before, during, or shortly after birth. So they cover officially they support anybody from the minute you find out you're pregnant until up to 28 days after a child's been born, and if they pass away in that period, that's kind of their remit, if you like. And not long after me and Charlotte lost Neve in 2017. My old manager Arran actually put a charity football game in front of me as a way to give back to me, to try and get me involved again, because I stopped kind of playing football, stopped socialising. So he came up with this idea about doing a charity football game, and that was his version of trying to do something. And I think fair play to him, because there's a lot of people I found through experience that didn't know what to say, what to do, didn't do anything, didn't ring, didn't call, didn't text, nothing. So the fact that he, came up with this idea was testament to him really, and then it gave me an idea of trying to put a team of dads together from the groups. So sons were in different groups in different parts of the country. Area to area it's all different, but primarily it's a couples group, a dad's group, and then what they call a rainbow group. So a rainbow is what the term given to somebody that's expecting a baby after you've lost one. And in different areas, like Ross lives in Watford, he's got no groups in Watford, so we're the closest for him to come to. But throughout the country, they've got 106 groups across the country, and yeah. So I found these kind of 15 dads at Eggborough and Steeled at different groups and stuff like that, and put the guys together, and then we floated an idea of a Sunday League team, and we're now 3 years on and 35 teams later across the country, and primarily it was set up just for the guys, just for dads, but then throughout the process, and the more you talk to people, the more you learn, and the more that you kind of expand on the original idea. It's not just dads that are affected. Yes, primarily, and probably the most deeply affected is the dads, obviously, because it's their flesh and blood that this event's happened to. But like, you've got family, Ross has got family, I've got family. There's no way I could turn around and say my brothers weren't affected by it. My dad wasn't affected by it. My family, cousins,
the whole
my best friend,
whole family network.
We only had 12 people that ever met Neve physically and held her, and most of them were family, but there was some very, very close friends of ours, and there's no way you could say they weren't affected by it. So the football team then expanded from dads to other people that have been involved with child loss, and it is, the football is the catalyst to get people off the sofa. It's the carrot that we dangle in front of them to attract men to it, because I think if you said, we're doing a support group and we're going to have a kickabout after, you'd probably still be the three of us sat here now. Support groups aren't things that people give a lot of time to, men especially. Mentally, I don't think we
have a bit of a stigma.
Absolutely,
it's just like 10 people sitting around and it's your turn and have a chat,
And it's like, my name's Rob, I've lost a baby. It's not, but because
I can go in on that, because I never went to one, because I didn't want to do that. And I know it's not like that, but even still now, I wouldn't comfortable sitting in a group of 10 people in a circle. But as soon, like you said, as soon as I saw on Facebook, it's a football team, I love them. Play football. Let me go and see what it is, and there was nothing else. That was it. That's the only thing I found in 6 months.
And although Sons have tried to provide lots of different avenues, and over the years have expanded on their different avenues, and they've got like online communities. They've got an app you can go on. Whether you've lost a baby or not, you can download an app, and it will give you kind of little insights and questions you can ask people. So from your point of view, for example, you haven't lost a child yourself. But if you downloaded the app, there would be questions that you would be able to ask somebody that has, whether it's a close family member, and just engage in a conversation.
Because I think people are quite fearful of the conversation. They don't want to put their foot in it. We went through a process and we signed everyone in the business up to basically bereavement training, I suppose, or something like that, which Sam's provided. And we had, it was different questions that we needed to answer and just suggestions of what to do, and really the kind of point around all of it was not to ignore it, and that actually, the person or people going through that probably do want to talk about it.
Absolutely. I mean, you've got children. Ross has got other children after Nora. I've got other kids. As a parent, your proudest achievement is your kids. The minute they're born, they're the best thing in the world. And all you want to do is talk about them. And just because you can't see one of mine doesn't mean I don't want to talk about her. Doesn't mean I want to talk about her any less. But I think because you can't see her, and because people are afraid of that, that kind of, how do I approach this?
I think even in this day and age now, like there's, how many, even now I think people that maybe don't have that insight, there's millions of people that would still feel like that. They don't think I'm not them. They'd rather shy. It's a bit like getting into a lift. No one likes getting into a lift because it's awkward. Well, you're making it awkward by not saying anything. If you get into a lift and you're like, hello mate, how are you? You're having a good day, and then you get a bit of conversation, there's no awkwardness.
And that's what I think we try and show people, like what the outlook I wanted people to have from the football team, looking in at the football team, is that yes, we've been through something horrible. There's no denying that, there's no shying away from it, and if you want to talk about it, well, I'll quite happily talk about it. But what I want you to see from the football is a positivity. A group of guys that are not letting what's happened to them define them, and actually being able to enjoy their life representing their children, you know, because it's, you know, it's the worst conversation in the world, isn't it? We spoke about briefly earlier, you know, our fears and passing, and you know, I think nobody wants to talk about that. No one wants to talk about passing. No one wants to talk about death. The minute you couple that with children, it's the absolute worst conversation anybody wants to have, whether you've got kids or not. It's a lot of people say to you, I don't know how you did it. I don't know how you know, I don't know how you're still standing or whatever. You know, I don't know how strong. You know, how can you be so strong? And the reality is, you've got no choice. It's like most things that are tough.
That's the hand that you're dealt.
Yeah, you either let it buckle you, let it fold you in half and destroy you, or you use it as a catalyst to push forward and use it to, you know, really kind of try and do something about it and do something. So the thing that we want people to see from the football team is that yes, you know, primarily it is a group of guys that are getting together, we're talking about things, and whether child loss brought them here initially, it's not the be all and end all of the conversation, because, you know, Ross might have a tough week, you know, with work, or he might have had a row with the missus, or he might be struggling with money. Doesn't matter.
It's all conversation that comes up in the changing room, isn't it?
And child loss isn't the start and finish of the conversation either, because when you lose a child, that experience takes you into other places. It takes you to depression, it takes you to anxiety, it takes you to, you know, thoughts and feelings you never even thought you would have. So it's not just we sit around talking about our kids, you know, we don't. We talk about life and things that happen daily, and the fact that, you know, whether it was a week ago or 10 years ago, it's all relevant, it's all part of what makes you now. And that never goes away. The pressures of life never go away. Everyone's always got something going on. Mental health is something that we've all got, and whether you like to believe it or not, it's not always sunshine and rainbows, you know. And I think if you've got a network you can lean on when times are hard, then surely that's a good thing. And you should be comfortable to have that conversation, you know. And we don't put any pressure on anyone coming to the team to tell us what the story is or how they found us or why they're even here. It's something that we hopefully create the right environment that naturally will come out. But if it doesn't come out, that's absolutely fine as well. Just come play football. We know that you're here for something, and if you're getting the benefit from just kicking the ball around, then that's absolutely fine. If that's become the part of your week that you look forward to, the pick-me-up, that you can come and switch off from all the other stuff that's going on, then fine, just come and do that, come and have a kick around. But yeah, we try and keep it positive. We try and show people that there is life after loss, I suppose you could call it. You know, that you know, I've had a lot of people, and myself included, the first time I was having a laugh with somebody after losing Eve, you know, I kind of afterwards I was like, I feel quite bad for that.
Guilt.
Yeah, but that I'm enjoying myself, that I'm laughing, that I'm smiling.
Life is going on.
Yeah.
Guilty, yeah.
You know, that, I don't know, somehow that experience should make me feel a certain way, and it doesn't have to. You know, we still represent our kids, we don't shy away, we still talk about them all, we still show them on our shirts, we talk about them when we need to talk about them, when we want to talk about them. But it's not, it doesn't become an all-consuming thing, which is,
I suppose,
at the beginning,
a bit like control, isn't it? You're controlling, you're having the strength to control how you want to deal with that particular situation, and when you want to.
We've got the ability to do that, and I think that before the football, and Ross will probably know better, before he found Sands United, a lot of the tough stuff you have to deal with yourself.
Keep it to yourself. You don't think there's anyone else out there that you can talk to. So you know people out there have been through it, but even then you don't really. You don't know
where are they. Yeah,
I've got so many of my friends that have had miscarriages I've never known about. They've
never
talked about it. Some of them because they just don't want to. They just don't feel they.
Yeah. I suppose it's not something that naturally comes up in a conversation when you're just meeting friends at a do or whatever. Do you know what I mean?
No, but after losing Nora, we had a miscarriage earlier this year, and I was straight away telling people, not because I wanted them to feel sorry for me, because I wanted them to know you can do it. Like, and I've got friends that have said to me, I don't want to talk about it. Like we've got 3 children now, and they don't. Again, everyone looks at it differently, don't they? Like, it hurts me when someone says to me, "Well, I don't want to talk about it because it was only a miscarriage." Well, no, that's still that's still a child. I don't care how far you are. If you're a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 30 weeks, it's still a child. But if you don't know,
it's the way they have dealt with that, the way they've processed it.
Yeah, and it's not right or wrong.
No,
it's
their choice.
One of my best friends, like they've lost 2 in between their 3. So they've had, lost. And he said we just don't think about losses because, but that's not wrong. Like that's their choice, and they lost really early on. So every loss is different, and like I think you said, it goes to the loss is the biggest hurt, but then your mental health just takes a massive whack because of that. And then I found it 6 months that I found Sands United, just because my auntie sent me a message, have you seen this football team?
Yeah.
Then it just popped up on Facebook, funnily enough, the next day.
I just
messaged the club, didn't know who it was.
Yeah.
Rob comes back a day later, started talking, and within 2 months, I turned up training for the first time. I'm like one of the guys and just felt comfortable. That was it, and that's all it took. Before that, I hadn't spoken to anyone at all.
But even that, you say that's all it took. You're having to jump in a car in Watford, and drive an hour and God knows what.
Well, the point is, I was chatting to you for a bit. Then you added me to the WhatsApp group, so I was chatting, meeting these people I never met. Then I actually, and going back a bit, I've always suffered with anxiety my whole life. like doing something like this 4 years ago, you would have had no chance. I would have said, no, I can't do that. But I just made up an excuse, I'm not doing that. But you get threatened, since losing Nora again, everything changed. I'm like, well, I don't give a shit anymore what people think of what I'm going to say. And you do it. So I remember I came down to London, you were playing the Arsenal fan TV. And I drove down there, and you knew I was coming. Got there, I was literally in the car. I got out of the car, watched the game, didn't say hello to anyone. I just felt like I didn't know if I could. Went home. He texted me, did you come? I said, I was on the sideline the whole match. Because I just felt so nervous about thinking, well, I can't just turn up and say, I'm Ross.
But then I felt really bad, because he didn't tell me he was coming, or didn't tell me he was there. He said, I might pop down. So I'm like, okay. I said to a couple of the other guys, I said, there's a guy called Ross might pop along. Didn't know him, kind of never seen him in person, so never really kind of had a firm faith to put to it. But then afterwards, I was like, I feel really annoyed with myself that I didn't make him feel welcome. Go and find him and pull him in, because it is hard. To jump in a car from whether you live in Watford or Kingsford, you come into a group, an established team, whatever you want to call it. It's a new group of people.
That was the challenge. I remember it vividly. I think it was like the first week in November. When I came down, so I was like, I don't know what to do. And then I said, because I was going away for December to Canada, and then I watched the Pride of Sport when you're on that from Canada, like 3 o'clock in the morning, whatever it was. And then I said, I'm definitely going to come training 1st of January. Got here, and it was like I'd known everyone. I mean, there was names Nick, and that was it. And they were like, oh, it's just taking the piss out of me or whatever, like straight away. And it was like, oh, it's not just about, I'm not expecting me to come in and sit there and be like, miserable, because it's not. And that's what's changed it, and that's what led partly for me of starting up my own group, which is completely different to Sands United. Really.
Talk to us about the story with Nine for Nora.
Yeah, so after we lost Nora, so going back before that, we lost my nephew Kieran, as I mentioned earlier, when he was 10, and we'd always fundraise for him because he was poorly. We had to get him a wheelchair and stuff like that because he couldn't get through NHS and stuff. So we'd always fundraise, and after he passed away, I found myself doing some challenges because I find I need to keep, I think like most men do, have to keep your mind busy. And I'm still the same, exactly right this minute now. If I stop for a minute, I'm like Rob said, I can't sleep, I'm alone, I'm going to do that anyway. But so I got to, after Kieran, I did some fundraising, raised some money, and then when we lost Nora, obviously it was a sudden thing that happened, we didn't know it was going to happen. I just said to myself, I'm going to set myself some challenges, because I need to keep my mind occupied, keep myself busy, keep a bit fit, because that's the first 6 months, I was like, oh, don't care, I'm just going to eat crap, drink crap, not talk to anyone, stay in bed. Not even go to work. I didn't go to work for 2 months because I couldn't be bothered.
Yeah.
So it took that sort of kick for the football team and started it. And then I was like, I signed up for the marathon, done the London Marathon before for Kieran, so I'll do that. And I was like, well, let's try and build this. Like, now I know I can talk to people, but I've had no one to talk to. See if we can find people to talk to. So I set up 9 challenges. For 9 for Nora had a ring to. We had a conversation about what to call it and can we progress it a bit further. So I set up the 9 for Nora, and it was basically me being very selfish, really, just to build. It was for me. It wasn't for anyone else at that point. It was just for me to keep occupied, keep my mind busy. But then I was thinking, well, I'm not the only one who's on this journey. Like, yes, I've just started it, but so I invited people to join in the challenges. Basically, I set up 9 challenges from the London Marathon to what else I did now.
Come on.
River, you're going to get me in here. Did the 3 peak challenge, did the 3 mountains in 24 hours. I was going to say skydive, but that was the one before. Bike ride London to Brighton. I did a 100 kilometre river road I never rode before, but I got friends and family involved so they could join in. And the idea was really, primarily to get my mind going, because I need to keep my mind occupied, because as soon as you stop, you'll know, even in business, you'll know. You stop thinking about stuff and suddenly you're like, oh shit, I've got to do that, got to do that, got to do that. Oh, I feel like shit. I'm going to go. So it was just for me, and then I was very fortunate. So I set up like the campaign, started doing like hoodies and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then I was very fortunate when I went to an FA Cup game watching Watford. Win a game.
Go on, Watford.
Come on, 2-0. And it was a great day. So we were Wolves 2-0 down, half time, win 3-2. Drunk as a fart by the end of it. Unbeknown to me, Jay Humphrey from BT was doing like the presentation that day, spotted my hoodie, and going back to what you said in a few of the podcasts, like the good side of social media, he tweeted about it. He just took the time out, saw it on the thing. Obviously he's got children, saw it, tweeted about it, and it went viral basically. So,
how much was you on before you went?
So we set a target of raising $3,000. Yeah. I think I had 2.5 that night, before that night. The next morning I woke up, because I sort of tried to ignore it that night, because I was like, I'm drunk, I don't want to go on Twitter and be a twat and be like, 33 grand in the morning.
Wow.
And I'm like,
wow.
I'm like, what the fuck is this? But it wasn't.
Did you know he'd done that at that point?
So
or did you see the numbers and thought, what?
So my phone was going off when we got back from Wembley and went to the bar in Watford. My phone was going off. I was just going to ignore it. But it was going off a lot, and it was obviously donations coming into the GoFundMe page. Yeah. But I didn't look at it. Then my friend texted me and said, you know you've gone viral. Literally, she put, oh no, you know you've gone viral. I was like, what are you on about? So I had a quick look, and I was like, I'm putting that away. So I was like, I'm not looking at my phone. I turned my phone off, had the drink, went home, went to bed. That was it. Because I was like, I know what I'm like when I'm drunk. You'd be like, oh, Jake, I didn't. I was like, and you sort of sober up a bit as well, because you think, well, this is real.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I woke up next morning, the fundraising, I had a message on the thing saying, if someone knows this person, from Jake saying, can you get him in touch, blah, blah, blah. And then it just spiralled, basically. So I was on that. So that was on the Sunday. Tuesday morning, me and my wife were on Sky News live, doing this interview. I was like, and that was another turning point for me, because I was thrown into this thing where like, you're going to be live on TV in 5 minutes time. I'm like, and I was and I was sat like, we were sat like this. It was me, Naomi, and the interviewer, and we were just talking like general. And then he was like, and then all you heard was 5, and I literally went like that. And I was like
a naughty school
kid. Shit, what is going on? And Naomi was really good. Like, she's a lot more confident than I am, like talking and stuff. So, and we were actually pregnant again then, because it was with Ernie. This was like, so obviously we lost Nora in May 2018, and this was in March 2019. So obviously we started the challenges and stuff, and I think I had a challenge that weekend. But yeah, we just talked, and then it just felt, we were talking about it like live on TV about Nora, about this, and I felt comfortable doing it. I was like, 6 months ago, I was like literally curled up in bed.
How did it feel to be able to talk about that? Obviously, you probably at the time not knowing that there's an audience, but did it feel like a bit of a relief, or?
I don't know if it was a relief. I think it was just. Actually, yeah. If you say that, like when I was going back to saying my friends didn't know what to talk about. Yeah. If they saw that, they didn't think, oh, he's talking about this to probably 3 million people on TV or whatever stupid. So they probably then it might have changed their perspective, which would have been good for me.
Did you get a lot of people reaching out to you about it?
So this was the biggest thing that came from it wasn't to be honest, the money is great. The money has helped so many more families now, and we've gone from, well, I think we're on 70,000 over the, because we've obviously carried it on. Yeah. But the amount of messages I had on GoFundMe saying, I'm so glad I've found someone doing this. It's the same like the football. Like, I didn't think I could talk like that. I'm glad you've done this. Keep doing what you're doing. Blah, blah. And it's just, it spurred me on. I would always keep doing it. I want to live the legacy of Nora and keep it going. But so just those comments, I was thinking, well, why should I just keep it to me doing challenges? Why can't I get more people involved? What happens to these people that like me that had no one to talk to? I bumped into someone at the train station on the way to a different TV interview, and she saw my hoodie, and she ran up to me, "You were on the telly, weren't you?" I was like, this is fucking surreal. So I got some woman in Euston Station tapping me on the shoulder, like taking a photo with me. I'm like, yeah, this is just weird. But then the realisation is why they're not doing that because they've seen you on the telly. They've done that because of what they've seen on the telly.
Yeah.
So, and I thought, and she was like, "Yeah, we lost," and then she opened up to me, like, yes, it's a woman, so she's more likely to do that, and her husband wasn't there. But she was like, "Yes, we lost a child 2 years ago. My husband's never really spoke about it." And I was like, "Where are you from?" Just got into conversation and stuff, and it just transpired. I was like, "There's so many people out there that are like that, and probably just don't know what to do and got the thing." So, and obviously at that time I was with Sam, so I knew just a WhatsApp group helps. Immediately. So I thought, well, why don't I just set up a group? Like, I've got that social attention now because luckily Jake's got 1 million viewers, so I've gone from 92 followers to 500 overnight, just because people, not because it's me, just because I set up a separate page in Ivanhoe, got my social media going.
Is that when you started the Lads and Dads network?
Yeah, so the plan was so basically I got to the point where I was like, why can't we get these guys and try and get more guys involved, being able to talk about anything. So primarily I set this group, and it was like there was me, there was a couple from Sands, Pete joined it from Sands, there was two of my friends that had lost children and stuff, and then another guy lived near to me who found Sands United, but it was too far away from him to come, so we thought, right. So and we were talking about setting a football up, but no one was in that sort of mindset, so we just started advertising, put flyers out around the local area, got social media tweets, tagged in Jake and a few other celebrities that had followed it and stuff. And yeah, it just grew, and then I had a few dads contact. So I set up this WhatsApp group, long story short, thought, how could I get a ring to it? So Dads and Lads Network sort of came along from that. And originally I set up the group, WhatsApp group, we had 8 guys in it, just started talking about when we'd lost, what had happened. And it just gradually, friends of them would come on, and you get a few emails come through the website. And I think now today, so this started in 2020, January, obviously COVID hit. The idea was to meet up once every 6 weeks, have a beer. Only been able to do that once. That was right at the start. And yeah, so now it's just, we literally, for me, it was big because I didn't want to go to these Sands groups in a circle of people talking about my problem. I would have gone if my wife wanted me to. She wasn't that bothered either. We had counselling individually. So I thought, I can hide behind a WhatsApp. I'm not worried, it doesn't bother me saying it. I'd rather speak to someone on the text than I would phone them. I'm just that sort of person. I just get nervous on phones and stuff, the anxiety that comes out and stuff. And I think a lot of dads are the same. Like, yes, we've got the guys at football come and talk, but some won't talk. Not because they don't want to, because some want to but can't. Some don't want to at all. So I set up like a group welcome message to saying, look, you can be as free as you want. Say whatever you like. If you don't want to talk, I've got guys who've been in the group for 2 years now. I've never said anything. But I know they're in there reading the messages. I can see them reading it. But it's also for me. It makes me sound bad. It makes me feel good that I'm helping those others. Yeah. I'm not in that group every day. I don't read every message. We've now got, so I say we started in 2020, we're now a year and a half down the line, we've got 56 guys in the group from all over the country. Well, I said we've got one in Turkey, we've got Pete in Wales, he's in the group. Yeah. We've got one guy in Northern Ireland's in the group. Just randomly found it through the website or found searching mental health, and that's the big thing is if you type Sands United into it now, it will come up Team for Dads, won't it? Basically, or if you search Dad and Lad Network, you won't get me straight away, but eventually you'll see it on the search, and it's just trying to keep that. I think you'll know in business, social awareness is now you've got to use the social media because that's what it's there for. Like, I don't use social media to follow anyone. I don't look at Instagram or Twitter and follow anyone. I just look at the feeds of basically we're in a baby lost world on social media. So
the bubble.
And this, it is a bubble, and it's not a good thing. No one wants to be. We're in a group and no one wants to be in. But we were saying like so many people put their holiday photos and I've got this best life. Everything I see on it is a dead baby, pictures of dead babies and stuff. And it doesn't bother me now at the start. I couldn't do it, but now I'm like, that's the world I'm in, and there's so many in it. And the WhatsApp group, we just literally we could be talking about football one day, and then suddenly it'll be like, I've had a really shit day today. And we have guys now that will join. We've had one today, literally joined, emailed me today. He said, I probably won't talk for a bit, but my mate said about it, can I be in it? Said about the blah about trying. We're not qualified, it's just a bunch of dads that have lost children. That's it. And eventually we want to try and get that to, we can meet up whenever we can. But it's just, I think there is nothing out there like that for me. we didn't have a Sands group anyway. Even if I wanted to go, we didn't have one local, and I wasn't going to drive up to Northampton to meet people I'm never going to see. Because I think for me, if you're going to, like, it's a bit like having a child, like you meet the parents group and then you stay friends with them, don't you?
Yeah.
Like that's what you need to do in baby loss, and I was never going to do that driving an hour and a half away. Yes, we've done that through football, but I still have to get up there. I have to do it, and I don't get to play because I've got more children. But there needs to be more groups, and there are groups out there, but you don't hear about them.